All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. What an amazing turnout we have both in person and on Zoom. I'm so thrilled to be here and honored to be able to watch the films with you tonight. So, in honor and celebration of Black History Month, welcome to our Emerging Black Filmmakers screening for RealWorks. Thank you, everyone, for joining in Zoom and here at Harbor Grand, our Dolby Atmos mix stage. If you have any questions about the theater, please feel free to ask our amazing sound team. We opened Harbor Grand in 2015, and we have a very prolific directors working here, including Lee Daniels, Ron Howard, and Ang Lee. We're so excited to celebrate the next generation of filmmakers with RealWorks. Special shout out to the team for making this possible. Avi, right here. Thank you so much. Jeanette, big shout out to Avi. We have Jeanette on Zoom, making all of this possible technically. Josh, Lisa, Gabby, Jen. From RealWorks, we have Mara, who will be chatting with you soon. Charles, partner in crime. Joey, Keisha, Siobhan, John, RealWorks CEO, here with us in person. Thank you for coming and being so involved in every project. It really means a lot. Stephanie, Christy, Milda, Abby, Deshanka here with us, who's our associate producer in live action, who started with RealWorks. So we see how this trajectory comes to our studio, and we're just grateful to have her on the team, as well as Annika. I want to give a special shout out. Anyone who knows her knows how amazing she is. Amazing photographer here with us. We have Tasnuva, and Tas is a marketing intern on Gabby's team. And actually she did the cinematography for Solace, which is a film you're going to see tonight, which is super cool. And want to give a shout out to our talent team. We have Melissa, who's organizing the Zoom, will be helping with our Q&A, and is keeping the chat very lit. So please engage. We want everyone to feel included in this special event, as well as Pox, our talent coordinator in LA, who actually had the idea of bringing this to life, along with Nina, our incredible talent coordinator, who put so much love into this event. And for each and every one of you, I'm happy to have her here today and very proud of her. We have Deirdre, our SVP Director of Equity Inclusion. Thank you, Deirdre. Flew all the way from Chicago to be with us tonight with her family, which means a lot. We also have Zach, our CEO for Harbor, who is here and is at all of our events. He's very involved and super supportive. So thank you, Zach, for being here and making this possible. And so I would shout out each of you because I truly am grateful. And I'm going to hand that over to Mara.
Hey, everybody. It's just so exciting to be here. I wanted to kind of introduce, for those of you who may not be all that familiar with RealWorks, some of you that are online. So RealWorks is a nonprofit. We provide free filmmaking classes for New York City teens. Our mission is to mentor, inspire, and empower the next generation of filmmakers. And you'll hear us say often, and we believe that if you change the storytellers, you can change the world. In 2019, we launched Media Makers, which is our workforce program within RealWorks. It's in partnership with the Mayor's Office, the City University of New York, and others, and media companies like Harbor. Through this program, we're able to connect young professionals to internships, job opportunities, and trainings with the union and with the company partners. And it's companies like Harbor that share this common goal of making the media industry a more equitable place that makes our work possible. And, through collaborations like this event, and also through welcoming our wonderful alumni into your company, many of whom you shouted out already. So this is just such a lovely partnership and a great moment to be able to celebrate that. So we're just super honored to be able to be here and are really excited to showcase the amazing work of our students. And just so happy to see all of our other students here in the space too, supporting their peers.
Hi, everyone. How's everybody feeling today? Hope you guys are feeling good. Thank you for coming. Welcome to the Emerging Black Filmmakers screening. We're so thrilled to have RealWorks in the house today. I'd like to personally thank Manal, Fadlalla, Kaya Nelson, Jaire Marshall, Octavia Simon, and Camryn Mina for putting in the work to create such beautiful films about the Black experience from so many different perspectives. Not to give any spoilers, but when I tell you I was blown away, I was starstruck by all of your films. Our intention for today is to shine a bright light on all of your artistry. This is your spotlight. This is your debut. James Baldwin once said, artists are here to disturb the peace. So today is a thank you for showing up and being the new generation that will transform the industry for Black filmmakers and for Black audiences. So I just want to show y'all some love. So let's clap it up for everyone. Thank you guys for coming.
All right. Yes. You want to say a quick hello?
Everything's already been said. Filmmakers, your voices matter. That's why you're sitting in those chairs. All right. Harbor, this is the talent that's going to take it. Very excited to have all of you here. Really thankful to all of Harbor for having us here. Let's go watch some films.
Woohoo! Thank you.
First off, can we give them one more round of applause for these amazing There were so many moments that felt incredibly triggering to me, and so I really enjoyed the whole process. And I'm super excited to hear from all of you. We're all excited to hear from you. So I want to start off with some of the easy questions. Tell us your name and the film that you created. But before you do that, we're going to give you a microphone so the folks on Zoom can hear you.
So, hello everyone. My name is Manal Fadlalla, and my film was Achromatism.
Hi everyone, I'm Octavia Simon, and my film was Solace.
Hello everyone, my name is Camryn Mina, and my film was One Bite.
Hi, my name is Kaya Nelson, and my film was Contrast.
Hey everyone, my name is Jaire Marshall, and my film is Invasion of the Culture Snatchers.
Amazing. Thank you guys for sharing. It's so wonderful to meet you all today. And I just wanted to say, all of the work that went into creating a film like this, it must have been so challenging to kind of come up with an influence or inspiration. So I just wanted to know what were some of the ways in which you were able to kind of fine tune your inspo for creating your film?
It's funny because somebody asked me in the audience like this not too long ago, and I was literally just being black. You feel me? Really, being black, and then also growing up in Bushwick, that's ground zero gentrification. So it's I kind of envision myself as Bowie, that's the main character's name. Coming back, from school. At the time I didn't go to college yet, I was still in high school. But imagining coming back and then seeing things be so drastically different, because you see it change around you in real time, and it's just wow. Not even making the story dramatic, but just really playing up the absurdity, because it's absurd. It's crazy when you think about it, right? Then the erasure of a community. So I just wanted to not make it funny, but to kind of give us a couple laughs, because it's just it's so absurd, you have no choice but to laugh at it.
My inspiration was definitely just the students around me, and I feel my experience as well at my school. I don't know, I see, especially around the time of George Floyd, I just saw the most insane things go unspoken. And I kind of just wanted to create a space where my fellow peers and other students could express their feelings and feel they had an outlet to tell their stories. And so I hope that's what Contrast did for them. But yeah.
My inspo was based off of me. So when I was younger, I did go to a fat camp, but it was also based off of the dynamic between my sister and I. My sister was considered the pretty sister by a lot of people who would remind me constantly, and I just wanted to showcase beauty in all sizes, and just coming to terms with loving yourself and the journey of getting there.
The inspo for my film, it's a lot of things. Going into college, I'm a psychology major now, and I want to be a therapist. And I've seen in our community that mental health isn't addressed a lot. Even if you reach out and try to get the help that you need, it's really not addressed. And the specific feeling in the film, grief, I was going through a loss when I began this process. And also, the two characters are just based off of me and my best friend. The main lead, Keo, is based off of my best friend. And I just felt I needed to put a real person on the screen, and kind of just an ode to him and just anybody going through something like that, just so that you feel seen, because I don't think that I've seen such a real character on screen, at least for a very long time.
I feel my inspiration came from the idea of wanting to create a path for yourself, because as I said in my documentary, I feel there aren't a lot of people that do look like me. And so I kind of have to make like my own story and get to showcase it. So, yeah.
I'm curious about the impact that your films have had on others. There's such powerful stories, and there's such powerful messages. Like other people have seen your films, like Manal, you're dancing, like, and the reason behind it. Like Octavia, you're mentioning mental health, and like people watching this. Camryn, I wanted a honey bun at the end of this film. I just wanted you to know. All right, but the same thing with like the contrast and being in those spaces and gentrification. Like these are such powerful things. How have the people who have seen your films reacted to these? And have you gotten any feedback from folks who are watching?
My mom is actually in the audience right now, and so I feel like it was a little bit harsh of me to say things like, I feel like my parents didn't really like support it and stuff like that. And I feel like as she watched it, she was kind of like having like a moment of like realization. I feel like she was a little bit like, maybe I'd say upset, because she is proud of me and I do understand that now. But I feel like as I was filming and stuff like that, it didn't really like process. So I feel like I did have a very big like impact on my family, because like now I do understand that they are proud of me and the path that I'm deciding to go through.
Other people's reactions to my films, or this film, well, I've had people say, like, how I'm getting a little choked up right now, even thinking about the topic. I've had people say that they're glad that this topic, this emotion was put on the screen, because everyone goes through grief. I feel like you're incredibly lucky if you don't in your entire life, which I also feel is unrealistic. But I've even heard, like, in the audiences that have seen it, I've heard people's verbal reactions, and that just kind of showed me how it's hit them, and it told me that my goal in writing something that people could relate to and that they would feel, and having a real character, at least, was somewhat successful.
When I showed it, I guess it didn't like hit me or made me realize how many people would relate to the whole being compared to your sister thing. I feel like when it's comparison, it's always like in movies, it's done through like an educational sense, like, oh, this one sister's super smart, the other one's just like, you know, super pretty. But like the whole like bringing in weight, and then in some cases when I showed it in other places, bringing in colorism, like if you have two Black sisters and one so happens to be darker, how does that dynamic work? And it made people open up about it. I feel like we, especially like insecure people, especially women in this world, we're always gaslit into just accepting like, oh, okay, I'm just dark, or oh, okay, I just have like really bad hair, oh, okay, I'm just this. And we don't really address like, why is that ugly? Like, why can't I be chubby? I like to eat. I want to eat a honey bun. Like, why is that a crime? So it made people sit and be like, that wasn't right for me to be compared to my own sister. It wasn't right for me to be compared at all, and address what, you know, a lot of people ignore, which is these trifling beauty standards. So
I would say specifically on social media, there was a lot of young Black girls who reached out and kind of felt like their stories were being told. A lot of people expressed that they felt like their experiences were normal, and that's like what typically happens. And I think it opened their eyes to realize that that's not how you should be getting treated, and that's not how other people, that's not how other people experience school, and that's not like another stressor that people go through on top of, regular school things. And so there was a lot of people kind of reflecting on their experiences and felt comfortable to kind of share them as well. And yeah, I would say a lot of people kind of reflected on their own time at their schools, and they felt that they could speak up as well. So yeah.
I would say that like the first thing a lot of people say is just like, damn, like that was really funny. And then like, and I love to hear that, because like that makes it known that like my work as a writer director was like achieved. Like when I'm like hearing people in the audience like laughing at specific jokes and things like that. But more importantly, it's just like, I think a lot of like Black movies and films focus on trauma. You feel me? And like, I'm not really a fan of that, especially not anymore. Like I think we need a palate cleanse. So like, I kind of envisioned culture snatchers, well, maybe not at the time, but like now I'm seeing it more so as that, of like we're dealing with a really serious issue, but like we're doing it in like a lighthearted way. We're making absurdity. We're like leaning into Afro surrealism, you feel me? So it's like, it's something different than like the narrative that's continuously pushed, because like we see us being oppressed, we see us being beaten, like we see those things all the time, but like when do we ever have those moments to really be like, yo, racism is stupid? Like, let's laugh at that, you feel me? Like, gentrification is stupid, like, let's laugh at it. So, like, I'm really happy that, like, my film is able to make people, like, laugh, especially people who, like, you know, have grown up in Black and Brown communities, especially, like, in New York City, and like, wow, like, that's real. Like, the deli does not look like the deli no more. Like, kale in a beef patty, like, it's a joke, but it's, like, it's not far off. There probably is, you know, like, in some spot. But, yeah, like, I'm just really happy that, like, this film is maybe allowing Black people to like see our issues presented in the media in a way that's not exploitative or traumatic. Yeah.
I absolutely resonate with everything that you guys said. And my biggest thing when watching the films was perspective and how identity plays a role in each and everybody's film. And for me, I was able to find a piece of my identity within every single film. Like I went to PWI, K through 12. I'm from Jamaica, Queens. I then like moved to Brooklyn and everything. And I go to the bodega all the time. So the foods that you guys even mentioned, I was like watching them getting so hungry. And it sparked a conversation with us, like producing this event. Like, oh, we were all going around talking about like, for example, our favorite beef patty orders. And like, it's so culturally different, whether you're Caribbean American, Italian American, like just from here, whatever, like everybody has a different fusion on the way that they do something or whatever. So it was so awesome to see all the different central themes and messages that you guys conveyed from such a like communal standpoint. So how did you guys get those ideas? Like, what made you think about the beef patty or the honey bun, or why centering it at the PWI? Like, it's an open-ended question, but so you can take it whatever way that you want. But yeah, I'm just gonna open it up.
I feel like what inspired, or not what inspired, but kind of what pushed me to make the film centered around PWIs, is that I attend this group for Black students at independent schools every Friday, like once a month. And even though it seems really small, we have like these really deep conversations. And I remember a student had mentioned that we are currency at these schools. And I don't know, there was layers to that statement, but it was also like we are almost objects to them. And so often objects don't speak. I mean, I don't know, don't quote me. And so I really wanted to create a film that allowed Black students to have that expression that they're often not allowed or not, you know, pushed to have, and not pushed to have that voice. And so even like, I also wanted to show like the struggle that a lot of these students even had just to like even share their stories, and like the discomfort that it brought them, and the fact that they didn't even feel like they, you know, had the right to share these stories, or like that. Yeah, I wanted to show that discomfort and that dilemma that a lot of Black students have when it comes to speaking up at these schools, because if you're, you know, the only Black student in your entire grade and no one else is relating to your situation, and so it can feel very isolating and just very specific to yourself. And I feel like I talked to a lot of these students outside of school, outside of the film, and they expressed that like they felt a level of selfishness almost. And so I just wanted to show a film that like had a space where they felt like they could speak while all of these clips were shot in the school. So to me, there was even a layer of that where it's like they are able to tell their stories in the school too and be heard, but they were only heard by the people in the school. They were also heard by a bunch of other people on the internet, on YouTube, on whatever it may be. So yeah, that's why I decided to kind of center it around PWIs. Yeah.
I guess the honey bun came from like, I don't know if anybody's been on a diet, but like being Afro-Latina, food is so tempting. Food is everywhere. And I wanted her to, I know being healthy is all cute, Gucci, but I wanted her to want to lose weight for herself, not for societal standards. And her eating the honey bun was for herself. That's what she wanted. Like, that's what she said in the beginning, where she was like, I just wanted a honey bun. So the ending it with that was sort of just a way of her finally, again, like what's it called? It signified that she has accepted that she's big and she's thick and she likes that, and she wants to do it for herself. The whole movie, she was doing everything for Tyler, for her sister's approval, for this one's approval. And this is the one act in her own solidarity by herself, not people cheering her on and like trying to seem all woke. Like, this was her act of, I'm going to eat this honey bun, I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to enjoy it by myself. And nobody's watching me, and I'm going to love it. And yeah, so.
I mean, I guess to like piggyback off that point, like the reason why like I chose a beef patty with cheese is like it's comfort food. It's a comfort food, really, and like there's nothing more New York than that. You feel me? Like a beef patty, that's a Jamaican food, like made by like typically Hispanics in a bodega, and like you know what I'm saying? Like that's just so like it's cultural fusion right there, and it's like. I know every time I'll come back from school, because like I'm supposed to be at school right now, but I came back to the city for this festival. But like the first thing I do is like, I always go to the bodega and like, I get my like, beef patty with cheese or just any of my typical order, and it's just like refreshing, you know what I'm saying? Like it's that palate cleanse that I'm talking about. And it's just like when you go to like a familiar place and you see really unfamiliar things, it's like this really strange feeling. And that's what I wanted to play into, because like it's almost like a New York nightmare. Like, what do you mean you don't have a beef patty with cheese? Like it's strange, man. It really is.
I'm gonna say that the story, not this specific story, but how this story came about, started off as a joke. I actually wanted to get into writing again after a very long time, and I didn't know who to base characters off of. And I was speaking to my best friend, and we would just talk about movies and action TV shows. We love The Boys. And I started writing this novel, the spy novel, the two main characters, me and him. And it was full of action. It was full of stupidness. It is. And it's just kind of like, it was like, I can do this. And he was like, you're not going to write that. It's dumb. I'm just like, well, there's a space for everything. And even if this doesn't go out, this can be for me. And even if you say you don't read it, you definitely do listen to when I tell you the chapters. So can be for both of us. And Charles can tell everyone, when I first came to RealWorks, that was the story that I pitched. I did not know what I wanted to write for my script. The characters, while Keo is the name of the male character in the book, Kay is not. I changed that name. But those are the two characters. So when I came with that story, Charles had let me know, like, this is a feature-length story. You will not be able to put this in 10 minutes. And I was just like, you are so right. So this is a very alternate universe of how these two met, because in the book, they were best friends their entire life. But I wanted them to meet in this film so that we saw this little clash or butting of heads and just how they kind of worked through it, but also how Kay was able to show empathy and Keo was able to open up. It's just kind of both getting out of their shells in a certain way. And that is kind of how me and my best friend have influenced each other. So it's a little bit of like, this is an ode to you, but like, yeah, I did it. Like, you knew I could do it. You were just joking.
I guess a central theme that I wanted to convey within my film was the idea of like wanting to break from this, like, I guess this box that society puts you in. Because being mixed, like I'm half Moroccan, half Sudanese, and even though both of those cultures are like within the Middle East and there's like a lot of similarities, at the same time I feel like there's so much oppression that comes from like all sides, like being a female and being Black and wearing a hijab. And I just wanted to show that like you have to take yourself out of this like box. Like most of like the external conflict that you face starts messing with you in your head, and you're like thinking to yourself, I can't do this. I can't show this to anyone. And that was like one of the major themes that was in my film, because I was really thinking to myself at some point, I should probably find another hobby, because again, I was so like scared of other people's judgment, because this box is so like, it's so tight. But yeah, that was one of the major themes, just breaking out of this box that society kind of puts you in.
So I actually really love that all of your films seem to have that common thread, this idea of society builds boxes around us, and we either have to get out or point them out so that folks know how to get out. And I think I commend you all for that. Your voices are valuable, but you are specifically filmmakers, and lots of folks have ideas. People come up to me in the street all the time. It's like, I have a movie idea. It's gonna be the greatest movie idea ever heard, and it often never is. But you all created a film, and you went through the process, the very, very arduous and difficult process of making a film. Tell me, was there an element of the filmmaking process that you fell in love with? Are you like the camera, the lights, the edit, the casting, the acting? Is there an element of the production process that you were just like, I really like that. I think I'd do more of that.
Yeah. I like, my favorite thing about filmmaking really is like taking high concept ideas and really making it surface level. Like, I really like that. I like, one of my favorite words recently is like juxtaposition. So I like juxtaposing, like, something that's really high concept. For example, Afro-surrealism, right? Black kid goes to bodega. Bodega is overrun by alien hipsters. What? Like, just really like comparing and contrasting like those two things, and like really leaning into cliches, but like subverting it. Like, I enjoy doing that because like cliches are cliche, but like when you do them right and you subvert like one thing about it, it makes something very different. So I guess like the casting, that was a big element. Like all the actors in my movie were comedians, so that's why the comedy was so on point. The comedic timing was amazing because they could improvise and they could take the material and like elevate it to a different level. Even like the acting and like the physical motions and stuff like that, like it felt animated, but it was a real movie. Like, I just don't even know how to describe it, but like a lot of that is like due to the actors really taking my direction and like doing something special with it. And I think there is like the unhidden, the unspoken dynamic between actor and director. But like, if you know, you know. Like certain things don't need to explain too much if they understand. And I think the cast, like shout out to McFreddy, shout out to David, shout out to Tom, both of them. Like they did a great job. And even the extras, some of them from RealWorks alumni and stuff, like they really helped to make something special. So just kind of creating a world and like, being involved in every single process. Because I can't really choose what's my favorite element of filmmaking.
I feel like my favorite element of filmmaking, specifically for this film, was editing. I did probably around like 4 hours of interviews, and I would say 2 of those 4 hours the mic was broken, and so I wasn't able to use like 5 interviews, which is, it's fine now. But like then it was like, oh no, what do I do? Pre-production, you're like, I don't have anything now. It feels like you don't really have much to work with. But I don't know, just having the power to be able to just like cut and paste and put everything together and make a storyline and make it make sense was just very relieving to me. And so to me, that was like the relaxing part of creating a film, was just the editing part, because I felt like I could see my story coming to life. I could have each person kind of relate to each other within the film and make it make sense. And so, yeah, I don't know, that like editing kind of just brought me a sense of like relaxation and relief throughout the process. So, yeah.
I think 2 parts. Well, my favorite part was when I was finished, I'm not gonna lie. But I guess the second one would definitely, the 2 I would say would be the writing of the story. It's so freeing to just create a world with no rules and no limits, and it's your world, and it's any story like that you no longer have to feel like that girl doesn't look like me. That would never happen. Who wrote this? It's sort of like this euphoric feeling of like, okay, I'm not gonna say playing God. I'm not gonna let him strike me down. But I'm playing president. Like I'm in control of this. But I also loved, even though this is not my job, the producing aspect of it. Just connecting with people, reaching out to people, speaking, getting things in order. I feel like when people hear producer, they hear money, which is true, but it's a very social thing. It's a social butterfly thing. You get to speak to people. You get to talk to people on a different level, because it's sort of like you're floating in the background, making sure everything's all right. And you get a different side of people. People come to you with the problems. People come to you with the happiness, the tears, the this, and it's a familial thing. You end up feeling like, oh my gosh, like look what happened, look what I did. So yeah, those are definitely the fun parts.
To build off of that, yeah, it definitely is a familial thing. Like I remember stepping onto set the first day, and the night before I was full of nerves. 2 10-hour days back to back. Oh my gosh. But when my actors did show up, I remember I met my actor, Andre, who plays Jackson, at the train station to bring him to the school. I remember I ran out and I saw him there. And we hugged and we just talked on the block and a half walk back to the school. And it was just like I was more comfortable. But also with my actors, for Keo, Kay, the principal, I remember when they came at the beginning of day 1 and they went in the bathroom and they did their makeup. My actress for the principal, she changed into her heels. My Keo, she was changing into the outfit that we had discussed the week or so prior. We were on FaceTime. We decided an outfit. My Kay, she was fixing her hair, doing her makeup, and they were all talking and having that intimate moment. And while I did write those 2 leads based off of me and my best friend, I saw them actually start to become friends. And I feel like that was one of the most important things that helped this film come to life, because while some people were still a little reserved at the end of day 1, by day 2 we were having conversations on, I was asking my actors, I said, how do you feel you would perform this best? Do you think that there are any actions that you can do with these words that aren't written here? Do you want to block out the scene differently based on where we're now putting the camera? And if you saw the detention scene after the teacher left, all that walking around done by Keo, that blocking, that was not done by me. And thinking back on it now, maybe this shouldn't have been the only time that I stepped away in 20 hours to use the bathroom. But I stepped away to use the bathroom and I came back and my 2 leads were having a conversation with one of my cinematographers, Jenny. And they were like, look, we just thought of this. What do you think? And they ran it through for me and I fell in love with it. And I feel like without the input of my actors and my cinematographers and my sound people, my producer, everyone on set, I do not think that this film could have been as amazing as it was. This is definitely a passion project, not just for me, but for them. I do feel that their input and their collaboration in this made it more familial. Definitely, I don't think that if anyone else was there, it would have been as comfortable. So I love that there was that safe space, especially with Black women on set. You don't find that often. And yeah, it was amazing.
At first, like prior to this film, I had no knowledge on filmmaking. And so it was kind of my first time playing around with a camera. So like when I first started, it was kind of like the vanity aspect of everything. It was like taking this camera and be like, oh, okay, like this looks good, this doesn't, stuff like that. But once I actually started writing on like the script, like I completely agree with like what you guys were saying before. But when you're actually writing out your story and putting in all your feelings, things that you've like had hidden or things that you didn't want to say at first, it feels really like rewarding to just see everything come together in a cohesive way.
Thank you so much. So one of our questions we have here from the Q&A on Zoom, thanks to everyone being on live, by the way, we have 80 people from all brands in Publicis joining here tonight. So that's amazing. And Melissa has highlighted some questions here. Do you see your film being used as a tool for a call to action? What does that look like?
Before I even answer, do we know who asked this? Because I think I know who asked this.
I don't have a name, but yeah, we definitely look forward to hearing your response. Thank you.
A call to action. Definitely having more empathy for people around you, people that are sitting around you, that you see every day. I've seen people empathize with fictional characters on the screen more so than people that stand in front of them, even if they express their emotions and what they're going through. I've seen people go through such traumatic things and they have every right in the world to hate the entire world. And they still go out and they put their best foot forward and they're so loving and so selfless and they continue to be mistreated despite this. And people use their past experiences and not what they put out into the world. They could use what other people said or what they heard to judge this person. And I feel like this is also so detrimental to mental health because I feel like even with the rise of social media, not just that, but we are tending to dehumanize each other. We are not giving each other grace. We don't let anybody make mistakes. And at the end of the day, you feel that you want that grace to be given to you, but you're not giving it to anybody else. And in a world that has how many billion people, you can't go around just judging and treating people badly when you personally have no reason for it. Now, I'm not saying if there's a criminal out there and you see them walking down the street and they're like, hey, they should be locked up. I'm not saying don't call the cops. But, you know, it's like you hear from one person that, hey, this person treated me badly while we were in a relationship. They didn't support me. And then you see this person, you treat them badly. But then when you hear from the person, you hear that this person in the relationship was continuously taking from them. And then when they set that boundary, now they're the bad person. And you're hearing that they were never supportive when in however many weeks, months, years they were in this relationship, they were giving their all to this person. There's all these narratives that are painted by everyone else and not the person that it's actually about. And I just feel like you shouldn't be too quick to judge. If anything, make that assumption for yourself and act on how you feel personally just for you.
Thank you so much for that answer. Very thoughtful. And we do have a couple other questions coming in as well. Do you want to speak to that?
No.
Yeah.
Hey, could I speak to this?
Absolutely. Yeah, go for it. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I just choked. I feel like my film is a call to action for both predominantly white institutions and also students, Black students in particular. For me personally, it was a call to action for my school because I feel like specifically with independent schools, they often portray to be like these diverse fairy tale lands, and that's just not what they are at all. Like if you go on a site, you'll see like, oh, these little black children playing together, and it's not what it is. And I feel like it was a call to action to be like, if you're gonna keep on brushing all of these issues under the rug and not really do anything about it, a kid is going to speak up. Someone's going to speak up, and it's going to be out there, and it's going to be out in the open. And so I know for like teachers who have watched it and stuff, they've been more aware of like the surroundings and, you know, just people's actions within the school. And for students, for Black students, I would say it was a call to action to, you know, create a community and bond and, you know, share your experiences, because someone out there is experiencing the same exact thing as you. So like, for example, creating the BSU, like that, I feel like came about after people realized that they're not alone. And so I would just say, you know, speak up, talk to someone, and, you know, someone's definitely going to be there to listen. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for that answer. And we do actually have our amazing talent manager on Zoom moderating the chat, Melissa. If she wants to bring a question in, we welcome that.
Absolutely. So the virtual audience has just been eating up this entire event. The chat, as they say, has been lit throughout this program. But we are getting so many great questions from the Q&A. Many folks are so inspired by how well you filmmakers have shown up with your films and are wondering how to get involved, what the age group is. And so we're providing all that information to them. But one real striking question was, and it was anonymous, which I love, but it was, how has being a part of the Real Works Fellowship helped to further develop your creativity as a filmmaker? The folks want to know.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Over to you. Whoever wants to take it.
Well, with Real Works, it's kind of crazy that like I started like Real Works on my 16th birthday. And I did every program at RealWorks until I graduated high school. I started with the summer experimental lab. I did the doc lab, and I finished with the narrative lab with Coach Snatchers. I finished off with a bang. And like with RealWorks being part of like the RealWorks Fellowship, it's like with my new movie that's coming out now, like that's in post-production currently, I co-wrote that. Like the story was made by me and a former RealWorks alumni, because we have become really great friends since being in RealWorks, and we speak almost every day. So we were able to collaborate and do something independently of the program, but the program is what connected us together. So it's just having like that backbone and like knowing that, okay, I do have a group of like-minded individuals like me who are like part of this filmmaking program that I could always call like if I need something. And I think like I've called a couple times for work. So I'm like, yo, like I need this thing, Abby, like, you know, where you at? And stuff like that. But it's just really dope to like still have a community of filmmakers that do support you, because Coach Snatchers was made in 2019. It's 2023 now, and the amount of longevity and legs it's had, and like it's truly, it does make me really reflect and be like, wow, like this is crazy. Like 4 years ago, I'm making a new movie now, and it's still having the effect on people. And I'm hearing from some of the newer work students is like, this is like one of the first movies they ever watched when they joined the program. And it's like, wow, my movie is being taught to teach other young filmmakers how to make movies. And that's just so surreal, because it's like, I'm only 21. What have I really done yet? But actually, let me not say that. But like, it's like, I'm just getting started. And to see that I've made such an impact already really does inspire me.
Well, think about how much more you are going to give to the world as you continue on your journey. And each and every one of you, I've truly been inspired watching the films. I know we do have some other questions. Perhaps, Melissa, if you want to ask one more. I know we're going a little over time, so I want to be mindful. Thanks, Mel.
Happy to. And this one is very specific to one of our filmmakers here, from our audience member. And Jeanette, I'm going to call you out because you certainly wanted some of your questions answered. But the question was for the filmmaker of Contrast. Was it important for you to have Tyler, the character in that film, be white? And would the story have been as powerful, in your opinion, if Tyler was Black or another race?
Sorry. I actually went to PWI, so when I saw your film, I was like, ooh, trauma. But That was just the standard in my school. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a brother. That's just me. But the brothers didn't want me. So, it was pretty common for us to not me, but for my friends to date outside of their race. But it was also, we wanted validation. We weren't getting it from our own men. So being in those spaces, we tend to get fetishized. And for some people, they're always like, oh, fetish is bad. Fetish is bad. People just want to be wanted. We want to be loved. We want, like, you have to sit there and think about it. Would you rather be called ugly by your own men or called a chocolate queen by somebody else? And like, yeah, it's like, ugh. But feeling pretty in the eyes of somebody feels way better than being called ugly in the eyes of somebody that looks like you. So it was sort of just like, again, something reflective in my own life, just like this girl wanting validation from somewhere. She wasn't getting it from her mom. She wasn't getting it from her sister. Maybe somebody who doesn't look like me will finally like me. Maybe he'll see something in me that my own community looks down on. And she didn't get that, as you can see in the film. So it was just sort of just like a little bit of like also opening that other door of just like beauty standards within certain communities. How do we navigate that? How do other people see us? Should we care? Should we not? And just like getting people, like, sort of like I ended up doing, like, getting people to think about that, getting people to like pick that up a little bit. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for opening up and being so transparent and sharing your story and inspiring so many people tonight, including myself. I wonder if do we want to ask one more question, or how are we feeling?
Does anybody from the audience have a question that they'd like to ask?
I know we have such a good turnout here. Yes, please. Do you want to come here so we can hear in the Zoom? Thank you so much. What was your name, by the way?
My name is Lorenzo Martin.
Welcome, Lorenzo. Thank you. Appreciate your bravery here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There you are.
Okay, first of all, I just want to, commend all the filmmakers here. You poured out your hearts and your souls into these projects, and I salute you 100%. My question was for Jaire, though. I wanted to know how was your acquiring that location? How was that? If you could talk a little bit about, the deli.
So that's a funny story. So Hipster Deli is actually a real place in Park Slope. There was no editing with the sign. Like, that's an actual location. It's called Hipster Deli in Park Slope on 7th Avenue. It's not far from your works. It's maybe like 6-7 blocks away. So an assignment we were given with like Narrative Lab one day was like, hey, go location scout. So I got paired up with somebody, and like we literally just went around the neighborhood and found a bunch of different like supermarkets, bodegas, groceries, like anything that was like sold food basically, right? Because like we're expecting like a bunch of no's, right? And we did get a couple. So then eventually, like, we just stumbled upon, like, Hipster Deli, and we were like, okay, wow, like, this is what I want. So I walked in, and then, like, it was these cool, like, dudes, and they were like, yeah, like, you can film your movie here. Because, like, I think one of them had, like, a nephew or a cousin, like, two, like, immigrant, like, older Arab men. And one of them had, like, a nephew who's actually into filmmaking. So I think he saw something in me. He was like, you know what? Yeah, like, definitely use this location. Like, we have no issue. And they were extremely accommodating. Like, they were really, really, really cool dudes. So Hipster Deli is a real place. Support them if you'd like. Just don't drink the green juice. Just don't drink that.
If you don't mind me asking, how much, like, your budget? What was the budget like to acquiring this deli for the shoot?
Real works. Am I allowed to say what the budget was? No, I'm joking.
I can neither confirm nor deny anything you say.
So it was, I think, like 100 a night, 150 a night. Like, yeah, and we shot for 2 days, and we shot close to like 8 hours a night. Like, we were there from like maybe like 9, 10 to like 4 or 5 in the morning. Like, we were locked in, late night shoots, really, really on it. So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll say one last thing here. I think we're going to wrap here because we're coming up on time, actually over time. So thanks to everyone for your just for showing up tonight. This was really beautiful, and I'm so proud. And I want to give a special shout out to our filmmakers here, each and every one of you. Absolutely a round of applause. So special. And to Nina and Charles for moderating. I mean, have the best leaders up there, and Avi over here making the tech all good. So thank you to everyone, and on Zoom, we appreciate you. We hope you have a fantastic evening. Thanks for coming tonight.